Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So as of release of this video, BT12 should be releasing today. So good luck to everybody's pulls at your pre-releases this weekend. Hopefully you pull the absolute nuts and it's great. But if you're looking for an idea for Ulforce, which I assume that's why you clicked on this video, hopefully I can give you some insight into what I'm thinking for the deck moving ahead into the BT12 format and what you might want to go with. I'll just go ahead and clue you in. It doesn't change a whole lot, but there is a couple new techs that is pretty spicy for the deck. That's pretty cool. You know, normally I'm not one all about the spice or anything like that. I like pure inconsistency, but I think a couple of these are definitely worth changing. You'll see what I mean, particularly in the hybrid department. Don't forget though, our featured memory marker this month is Digimon. This is handmade, hand painted as well by my wife, Digimon. You can find this on her Etsy page, or if you're a Patreon supporter, you can get this as your Patreon reward for the month. Really cool memory marker floating above like some lava flats there, like the cracking black lava. Really cool. I've been begging her for like a year to make this thing. Turned out fantastic. Love this memory marker so much. Super cute, super cool. Like I said, you can find that on our Etsy page, link in the description below, as well as all of our other memory markers that we featured on the channel as in the past, as well as some other additional stuff that's Digimon related that you might find interesting. All right, so I've got the whole deck pulled up for you guys so you can follow along with us, kind of see what we're talking about here. Some stuff will might be kind of glaringly obvious of what I was talking about, and then some other stuff is something you might not see a whole lot. Now you notice we are 51 cards over. That's because this bottom section down here that's kind of off camera, we're going to talk about that towards the end. It's going to be a personal preference of how you kind of want to adapt the deck to your play style, and I think these are just some different ways you can go about it. Basically, we have the top row here is 46 cards, and then you're going to pick 4 cards to go with to end the deck on. So let's go ahead and do this card by card here. First up, we got the Wanyamon as our baby of choice. If you have when attacking, if you have a blue tamer in play, draw one. This is a super easy one to trigger for the deck, so I'm all about it. I've only got the 4 babies in here because the idea of once you go into one Ulforce, you in theory should never need a second stack. Sometimes you'll need a second stack, but in no world have I ever seen a deck or a game go into a third Ulforce. Like, you've either lost by then or you won by then. There is no in between. These super fast style decks, there's no need for a 5th egg ever. Like Grandis OTK, why would you ever run 5 eggs in that is beyond me. Even with the Mimi, like you won't ever go into that many stacks. So kind of my thought process with the Wanyamon. We've got of course the BT11 Veedramon. This is pretty much a mandatory for the deck. On play, reveal 3, add 1 card with Veedramon in its name and 1 Tamer card among them to your hand. It's great because it's nice and generic. It's any Tamer. And then the inheritable here of your turn once per turn when you play a blue Tamer, gain 1 memory. That's huge. If you're familiar with Ulforce or if you're not, when you go into Ulforce, it's a 4 evo cost. Usually that passes turn, but the great thing about his whole dynamic is that he plays out Tamers for free. And as soon as you play that Tamer for free, you're going to gain your memory back. So you're going to gain memory through multiple different ways. This Veedramon is just one of many. Another one here is the EX1. This is when you unsuspend, you gain a memory. Well, clues you in here. When you play that Tamer for free off the Ulforce, he immediately unsuspends. So basically both Veedramons here are going to do the same thing. They're going to get you that 1 memory instantly. So that's the best part about these guys. So really great additions for the deck. So these are pretty much staples. You're going to run 4 and 4 of no matter what build you go on. Now, the last part here is probably the flex spot, depending on what you want to do. I've seen some people run the Modimon for the memory blocker, which I totally get. Not a bad call for the mirror match, for one. Any kind of blue deck you're playing against. It could even be useful for Beelzemon, hitting Beelzemon. So, you know, they can't gain all that memory back because they're going to get a ton of memory back. The issue is they can pop like memory blockers super easily. Like popping rookies is like no big deal for them. It doesn't bother them at all. So they can literally choose the order that they activate their effects. And yeah, they're going to choose to pop your rookie first before they start activating the other effects. So Modimon has its uses, but it can be countered super easily. but instead I went with the Gabumon. I thought this was fantastic. My testing partner, Yugo Souls, uses Gabumon a lot in his, and I think it's a great backup rookie because it's when attacking, reveal the top 3, add 1 Tamer card, or 1 Digimon with Gabumon in its name. Mainly, you're adding a Tamer. It's another way to grab another Tamer. So when you start swinging and with your Ulforce and you're playing out Tamer after Tamer after Tamer, you run out of Tamers to play. It happens. By the time you've played 3 Tamers, often your hand runs dry of Tamers. Gabumon is a great way to get you another one. That's not just a blind draw. It reveal 3 cards, and hopefully you hit a Tamer in one of those 3 cards. If you were just doing a blind draw, you might not get that Tamer, but if you get a look at the next 3, you have an increased chance of seeing that Tamer. So I like the Gabumon. Only 10 rookies here. The deck plays a ton of Tamers, so therefore we have to cut down and get a little bit leaner on the rest of our stack. Now, granted, we only basically has 4 traditional megas, right? We just had the 4 regular Ulforce. We do have the X antibody, but that will only ever digivolve on top of another Ulforce. Besides that, you'll never use it. So we can get pretty lean with this. Kind of think back to Jesmon. Jesmon decks can be really lean because you only run the 4 megas typically. And so, you can get away with that because you got to make space for other things. It's the same concept for building for this list. So next we got the good Veedramon here with the BT11. Your turn, when you play a blue Tamer, draw 1. You don't get this effect too much because you're pretty much going to constantly evo on top of this guy immediately with your level 5 because you like to play your Tamers out for free. You don't like to hard play your Tamers for their cost unless it's like the 2 cost tie, the V-Tamer one. That's about it. But the inheritable here is great. It's just like the Vmon. When you play a blue Tamer, gain a memory. So now we're gaining 2 memory back when we evo into our Ulforce. So that's really solid. We got the Veedramon 0 in here. I've seen ratios come and go on this one. It alternates between this and then whatever hybrid you're running. The when attacking is basically you'll never use, but if you have a blue Tamer, you may trash the top 3 cards of your deck to give it 2k. You'll never use this. But the when attacking, place 3 non-Digi-Egg cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck, draw 1. It's another way to help you cycle resources, get more resources in hand, hopefully draw into that Tamer. So you activate the Gabu to dig 3, activate the Veedramon 0 to draw another one, get resources in hand because you're going to be burning through them insanely fast. But the big spicy new tech is a Ranamon for the deck. So people were running Kumamon or Lobomon. Kumamon just being able to have that strip effect could be relevant. But when digivolving by placing 1 level 3 Digimon card from your hand to the bottom of one of your blue Digimon's Digiwish cards, this Digimon gains jamming. So a little cheeky way to give yourself jamming. But I think what's really cool about this is say all you got is Tamers, they killed your Ulforce, they bounced it, whatever the case may be. You don't have anything in raising area. You've got all your Tamers from last turn when you popped off. Go Ranamon to go into her and then slide in whatever rookie, whatever Vmon you want, Gabumon, doesn't matter. Now it's like, oh, I just skipped my entire raising phase. Basically, I hatched, I evoed, I promoted, and now I've gone to my level 4. It's like you go through all those phases instantly into Ranamon. So I've actually seen people dropping the Veedramon 0 down to 2 and jumping her up to 3 because she's very, very strong with the new ability. She's the best way to start a fresh new stack. So I think these ratios right here are completely interchangeable, whichever one you prefer more. The Veedramon 0 is just good for that initial buildup. If you don't see the best Veedramon, this Veedramon 0 is a good backup in that very first stack. But Ranamon is fabulous for starting your second stack. Next, we got the BT11 Arrow Veedramon. This is pretty much a mainstay level or 4 of in any build main once per turn by suspending this Digimon. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add all blue Tamer cards among them to your hand. Place the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. That's going to be your best way to fill your hand with Tamers. And then when attacking once per turn, activate one of your arenas on play effects. So either the old arena or the new arena. The new arena is basically the new arena is the only reason that this deck is a thing. This and the Ulforce together are an incredible combination. Very, very cool game design of how these interact. Really, really cool. That's how you should kind of see Tamers interact, I think, with Digimon, because they're actively affecting the battlefield and encouraging their partner Digimon. So that's really cool. Then we do have two more Arrow of the old UlforceVeedramon. This is the starter deck 8-1. You notice I'm only running 2 copies. I have seen some people run 3 of, but I feel pretty confident in the 6 with the 4 megas. It seems good to me. I'm totally fine with that. I really just want to see the BT11 UlforceVeedramon anyways. You know, let's be honest, that is the one we want to see. But this one is still really good. It's got jamming, so you can swing with this, get that free check, also test the waters for option card removal, because that could be kind of important. But then it has the inheritable of why you have 8 or more cards in your hand, it gets security attack +1. That really enables you to pop off and just absolutely decimate your opponent. You notice we do have the offensive plug-in A here, so this is basically kind of doing the same thing that is. So he is a very strong card, for sure. Like this is a good one to go into, again, for that second stack. Once you've already popped off once, going into this UlforceVeedramon will be great, because your hand should be a decent size by that point of extra stuff. Next, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. The UlforceVeedramon. When Digivolving, you may play 1 blue Tamer card from your hand without paying its cost. No play cost restriction, no name restriction, just super generic. That's what makes this deck so great. 4 Evo cost. You know, it's a little bit big, but you've noticed we've gained through the level 4 and the rookie, we've gained memory. And just hint, if you don't know, one of the arenas also gains this memory. So basically, you're going to make this a 1-cost Evo. At the end of it, 1-cost Evo into this Ulforce. So if your opponent you start your turn at 1 memory, you can still go full combo with 1 memory, as long as you've got your level 5 in breeding ready to go. So after that, when you play a blue Digimon, unsuspend this Digimon. So the idea is this guy, when you Evo into him, he's suspended. So either you are using your search effect with your UlforceVeedramon to suspend yourself, or you're swinging with the jamming. Either way, your level 5 should be suspended. So you're going to go into your UlforceVeedramon here. And then your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, which he becomes unsuspended when you play a blue Tamer, so it immediately happens, return one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon to its owner's hands. For every blue Tamer you have in play, add 1 to the max level of the Digimon that you can choose with this effect. So this, you get to pick and choose this. You don't have to do it the very first time you unsuspend. It can be the 3rd time you unsuspend. So build up those Tamers and then unsuspend it, bounce that big thing. So just kind of hold on to it until you're ready to pop that big effect to bounce something really big. So really, really nice card. Now another new addition, in addition to the Randomon here, is the Ulforce X Antibody. So Digivolve for 1 from Ulforce, and by this time you should have gained back a lot of memory, because that first round you're going to gain back 3, and then after that, subsequent turns or subsequent attacks, hopefully you've played another arena to gain you more memory. So now you're back to having at least 1, hopefully more. But when Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon or one of your blue Tamers. So I'm a big fan of unsuspending himself, because boom, now we get yet another attack. So if I've already burned through all my resources of using my Ulforce here, play out a Tamer, unsuspend, play out a Tamer, unsuspend. Say I've run out of Tamers to play, right? And I'm suspended, I'm stuck. Am I going to pass turn? Well, I can go into Ulforce X here and unsuspend himself and then get another swing in. So I'm a big fan of that. Gives you another check there. And if you notice, we do have Blitz Omnimon here. So that could be this could be your swing for game. It could be your clear that last security and then set up the Blitz Omnimon for game. You know, it's 1 memory for 1 more attack. That's great. I mean, 1 memory for 1 more attack. That does not get better than that. That's really great. And then all turns, once per turn, when this Digimon unsuspends, if you have a blue Tamer in play, or this Digimon has UlforceVeedramon in its distribution cards, return one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level to hand. So you notice you don't actually need the X antibody for this. If you've got a blue Tamer in play, you can do this as well. So return one of your opponents with the lowest level to their hand. So that's another good way to bounce something. So if you've already bounced to one thing with the Ulforce here, then you can get a second bounce with the Ulforce X. That could be really cool, getting 2 bounces in 1 turn. There is other ways to get some bounces here. Just a spicy little Matt Sora that can give you bounce out of rookie as well, which we'll get to. So you can do several bounces with this deck. So it actually has a nice control element, in addition to the fact that you just hit your opponent in the face 5 times in 1 turn. So, moving on, the arena. This is the best arena, BT11 on play. Until the end of your turn, one of your Digimon with Vmon or Veedramon in its name gain blocker and evade. Nice little thing. The evade comes in really, really clutch, because if you hit anything in security that's too big, you can just evade to survive, as well as dodging lots of options, because you unsuspend before the check goes through, so that's super important. And then all turns, when one of your Digimon with Veedramon in its name becomes suspended, by suspending this tamer, activate one of that Digimon's when Digivolving. So this is where the loop basically comes in. You're going to when Digivolve, play a tamer from hand. He's going to unsuspend himself, and then you're going to play this tamer. So that way, when you attack again, because you unsuspend, then you attack. You're going to then suspend this tamer, the arena here, to then activate his when Digivolving effect, which I'm playing another tamer, which is going to unsuspend him. So it's just a never-ending loop between the arena and the Ulforce, and so that's really great. So you can just keep looping that. And then your turn, once per turn, when one of your blue Digimon becomes unsuspended, gain 1 memory. So you're going to play the arena here off that effect, and unsuspend, and then gain memory. So just like the Vmon here, when he becomes unsuspended, you gain 1. So that's really, really awesome interaction there. So you can keep playing arenas out and keep unsuspending and keep gaining memory for each of those arenas. Now each one is a once per turn, but you're going to be able to get one after another after another. So really powerful card. Now I've got 3 of the V-Tamer Taichis here. If you have a Digimon with Veedramon in its name, you can suspend the tamer to activate one of these effects. The 1K does come up very often, just being at that 13K. Lots of stuff in this format have 12K. Being at 13K is huge, very important. And then also trigger, draw 1. Just keep that consistency going. Also, the fact that he's a 2 play cost. Sometimes you'll run out of these arenas, right? And you just, you don't have any more. I can't activate my When Digivolving Ulforce ability anymore. I can't play out any more for free. That's okay. I can play this V-Tamer for 2. I can hard play this and not feel too bad. I can unsuspend, swing again. So this is like a 2 cost unsuspend if you want to, rather than the Ulforce X is a 1 cost unsuspend. So I think he's solid though. 3 of for him, and then 2 of the old arena here. Your turn, when one of your blue Digimon attacks, you may suspend this tamer to give it 1K. So another way to give you that extra 1K if you need. But on play, reveal 3 cards from your top of your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with V in its name among them to your hand. Place the rest of the deck bottom. The thing I don't like about this one is it doesn't help you. Once you've established your stack, it doesn't do a whole lot. Yeah, you get that 1K, which, that is important, but it's not doing other things. I need more tamers. I need to keep going with tamer effects over and over and over. That's why this one arena is a 4 of, and this one's only at a 2 of. This one's good to help you search for stuff like, oh, I'm just trying to build up my stack. But if I'm trying to do that, I'd rather play a blue memory boost, so I can reveal 4, and I can add any blue Digimon. It doesn't have to be just something with V. It can literally be anything, including the Gabumon, or if you're running it, the Leomon. If that's the only blue target, so be it. So that's great. And then you get that delay gain too. Whereas, Rena doesn't have any way to gain your memory back. So if you're using her early game just to find pieces of your combo, she's not going to do you much good later on. Once she's already on the field, she's kind of done her thing. Whereas the blue memory boost, I can pop that and gain some memory to go even further. I do have the offensive plugin here. I think it's really cool. One, as long as you have a tamer in play, you can ignore the color requirements, and one of your Digimon gains security attack +1. So a really solid card. Just being able, you swing twice. That's pretty common. You've almost cleared your opponent's whole security. Big plays I've seen is get that level 5 and raising area, and then swing with the rookie. Go into level 4 and then hard play the Searcher Vmon on you're going second, and then the turn that you're ready to evo your level 5 and raising, which is probably going to pass, you get that cheeky little swing in with the Vmon, which takes your opponent down to 4, and then you go into your level 5 to pass turn. Then your turn 2, if assuming you're going second, you can literally OTK them. So depending on what your opponent puts you at, if your opponent puts you at enough to go into your to use your offensive plugin, that's super strong. But yeah, just at a 2 of, you could run it as a 1 of. I'm not a fan of running it 1 of of one-ofs for, a lot of things. If I would like to see it at least once in the game, I'd prefer to run it at a 2-of. Ice Wall, of course, being an exception because it is limited to 1. And then the Great Maelstrom, which we'll get into, is a 1-of as well, just because it's a super expensive cost card, and it is very, very much a last resort sort of card if I can't clear a body through other ways. So, of course, we got the Ice Wall, which is a must-have in every blue deck ever, just because sometimes you can't beat your opponent. You need to put your opponent to 1, or you need to prevent your opponent from killing you. Ice Wall is a great way to prevent them from actually getting the full clear on you. Great Maelstrom, though, 9 play cost is a lot, but when you would play this card by placing one of your blue Digimon under one of your other blue Digimon cards, reduce the cost by 3. So it's a 6 play cost, return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the owner's deck. So instead of bouncing the hand, which isn't always the greatest, you're going to bottom deck it instead. For 6 memory, that's pretty good. Clearing a big threat sometimes is just something you need to do. You're still just trying to establish your opponent's done something. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Machine Dramon or something like that, and they got deletion prevention. Great Maelstrom, just get rid of it. Okay, so just a 1-of in here. I don't want to run it as 2-of. I don't need to rely on this. This isn't sort of big control deck. Just a 1-of. And that right there is 46 cards. Now, depending on what you want to do to round it off, I've got a couple different choices here. Blitz Omnimon is something you can always look at running just to get that last little swing for game in. If you say you don't want to run the Ulforce X, you could drop those 2 and add in the Blitz Omnimon. You could drop the offensive plugins right here, the 2 of them, for the Blitz Omnimon. There's a couple different, I think, easy targets. Probably the offensive plugin will probably be the easiest one to put in for the with the Blitz Omnimon. Now, besides that, we've got 4 slots left in deck. And I think the thing is, choose which of these pair you like and then run 2 of each. So if you like the Sora and Matt, run 2 of it and then 2 ADP. Or run 2 Jerry and 2 Leomon. So first, Matt and Sora here. Start of your turn, if you have 8 or more cards in hand, gain 1. If your opponent has 8 or more, gain 1. When one of your blue or red Digimon becomes unsuspended, you may suspend this Tamer to return one of your opponent's level 3 to its owner's hands. Which I was talking about earlier. It's got great helps you with that board control. The Ulforce is going to bounce something. The Ulforce X is going to bounce something. Matt and Sora is going to bounce something. So you got some pretty decent board control. But mainly this is a blue Tamer that also has red, so we can run ADP. You do a ton of security checks in this deck in one turn. Any sort of deck that does some sort of OTK strategy where you clear basically 5 security in one turn with a single Digimon. I'm not talking about multiple attacks from multiple different things. One single Digimon getting tons of checks. ADP is great because you're going to turn off all your opponent's option cards. ADP is going to be great, but I don't think that relying on it, I don't think it's going to be needed as much moving into the next set, just because security control is not going to be as played. You've got decks like Beelzemon X, which is going to trash like 3 of your opponent's security, right? Security control don't like that to hear that. They've got Red Hybrid. They've got Aldemon, right? ADP built in. So there's tons and tons of decks next set that are going in BT12 that basically shut down security control. The only way security control I think can survive is relying more on a recovery, just going for raw numbers rather than relying on putting bombs into their security. So if that's the case, then you won't need ADP anyway. But I did want to at least mention it. I think it's a cool a cool tech. Run 2 and 2 of these. The more popular one, though, and the more generically useful would... oh, you see what I did? Yeah, I did not mean to do that. Jerry here. On play, you can play a Leomon with your hand from without paying its memory cost. Play the Jerry for free off the Ulforce. That's great. Get to play a Leomon for free. That's some value. Like, oh my god, that's some great value. And then opponent's turn, when opponent's Digimon attacks, you can suspend this Tamer to draw 1. So then, yeah, playing out the 6 play cost Leomon here for free. Also off of that's 10 memory worth of stuff you're getting on field for free because of Ulforce. And so opponent's turn, while you have a Tamer in play, this Digimon gains blocker, and then on deletion gain 2, draw 1. It's a turn ender for your opponent. If they swing, they have to deal with this. Also, if you're putting this Leomon out, you probably got an Ulforce out there as well. Pretty nasty combo. These guys are used in tons and tons of Ulforce decks, and I totally see why they're really, really awesome. So just pick your two. I would probably recommend the Jerry, but if Security Control is a menace in your locals, or if it starts to get really popular again, maybe look at the Matt and Sora with the ADP to handle that. And that'll wrap it up there for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you got some good knowledge that you can take away. I think it's a cool deck. There's not much else to say. Ultimately, I think you're going to want to swap these, honestly. Like, the more and more I keep thinking about it over and over and over, I think this is just more practical. Mainly because having that extra 2 memory there before you, like, combo off is really difficult. But plenty of times you're going to, like, pop off, and then it's like, oh, I just need one last swing, right? And then Omnimon is a great way to get you there. So that's probably a little bit more practical of a build, honestly. Now that I keep thinking about it, I think the Omnimon is probably the better, more solid choice to go with. But yeah, that'll do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it this far, please like the video. It helps me out a ton. And if you're not already and you've made it this far, please subscribe, because if you're not subscribed and you listen to me ramble for like 25 minutes, you're a madman.